Hi there, my name is April and I am a crafter coming to you from my greenhouse just so you can see my greenhouse. Sorry, I call that puke cam when other people do it. But I just wanted to record an intro so that people could kind of see my face. So this is me. I am a mom. I am a wife. I'm a lot of things, but I'm a crafter, and I have been watching people do their crafts on YouTube, and it's something I put on and listen to while I'm doing my own crafts. It's really hot in the greenhouse while I'm doing my own crafts. So this is kind of me live and unfiltered, and I hope you like this video. Hello, and first thing I do is shake my phone. Make sure I'm still recording now. Hi, I am April. I am Wicked Crafty Mom, and I'm going to show you today a very simple, very basic junk journal. And the reason I'm going to show you a very simple junk journal is because it's a good way to get your creativity going. It's a good way to you can use it for crafting and keeping track of your crafts. If you have, YouTubers that you watch while you're crafting, or if you have YouTubers that you watch in general, you can keep track of it in a junk journal. And I'm just going to make a very simple one today with you to show you that you can literally make one with some basic supplies, and then you can decorate it, and I'll talk more about that in other videos. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what I have, what I'm going to do first actually is not get started. I'm going to show you my junk journal, and this is one that I've been working on for a very long time, and I'm not going to show all of the everything, but these are some of my favorite pages. And this was a date that my husband and I took to the Botanical Gardens in Boothbay. And so I've got little postcards that I threw in here from that day, and I wrote stuff on the back. I did some pictures on the back. And let's see. This is also a postcard from that same trip that I used to make a pocket so I could stick journaling in there. And this is a piece of paper that looks like it's typewritten, and I just colored over it and drew on it and used that as just a decoration that I really liked. I've got some quotes in here, so you don't have to just do journaling. I did some song lyrics that I really like and remember from when I was a kid. And then this is one of my favorite pages in this book. This is an envelope, and I will be going over how to do envelopes and add them to junk journals later. But this is just a picture of flowers that was in a book, and I took it out and then colored it in with colored pencils, and I just really like the feel of this. This is kind of the feel that I really like about journals, with the lace and with this is one of my favorite shirts that I photocopied and put a snippet in here because I love the shirt, and I'm weird. So those are just some different ways that you can use. This is my personal junk journal. I also have a crafting junk journal that is getting full as well. This one is getting retired now, and I started a new one. But today I'm going to show you how to make one that's very simple with basic supplies, and all you need are 8 papers. You can use copy paper, like this is just fresh copy paper, or this is coffee dyed, and I will go over how to coffee dye at a later point too. So this is just copy paper, but I'm using scraps from some of the papers my kids have taken home over the course of school. So I've got some worksheets and stuff that I coffee dyed because I'm not going to use them really for anything else at this point. A stapler if you want to staple the middle, and I have a trick. If you don't have one of those big long staplers, I still have a trick that I learned from Pam at the Paper Outpost. And that involves foam, so you can use foam if you want to. You can also show, I can't talk today. You can also sew these signatures, and I'll explain signatures in a minute as well. You can sew your signatures together, but today, just for the sake of, I want anybody that watches this video to be able to get started if they want to, I'm going to use a stapler and show you how to do that. And then you just need a pen, and you don't need glue, but if you have glue, any glue will work. I have used white glue, like Elmer's white glue. Right now I'm using a PVA glue that I stole a container from another product, and I'm using it. Elmer's Glue Wall is actually what's in this, sorry. So I've got Elmer's Glue Wall in here because I use it with a paintbrush. I don't have an applicator bottle anymore, and this works for me. And then the paintbrush I'm just using for the glue. So those are really simple supplies that you can gather. You can put me on pause, you can gather it and we can make it together, or you don't have to craft along with me either. That's just something I enjoy doing. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is, I've got 8 pieces of paper here, and that's very specifically on purpose. I'm going to put one on the side for now because we won't need it quite yet. And I am going to take 2 and I'm going to put them together, and this is why I'm going to do that. This is going to be the cover of my book. And so what I want to do is make the cover a little bit sturdier. But for the sake of this video, I wanted to make sure that we could use as few supplies as I could possibly do, really. So I'm just going to glue my papers together. And I love the way that the coffee dyed paper crinkles when I play with it. And I know that's something a lot of people comment on their videos. So I'm just taking the side that I don't want to be seen. I'm not going to see this side after I'm done with this, and that's the part that I'm gluing. And I'm going to stick the 2 sides that I'm not going to be using together. And that's how I'm doing that. So now I have a cover, sort of. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to glue one more thing. I'm going to take this piece of paper that I set aside earlier, and I'm going to take my ruler, my metal ruler that my husband just passed me, and I'm going to very simply eyeball some strips of paper, and I'm using this ruler to tear against, but you can use scissors. You don't even have to do this part. So I'm going to go ahead and make 4 strips. And then I am going to use these strips, and I'm going to glue them in place around the edges of the cover, just to make it kind of look more uniform and not come apart quite as easily, because I don't want the pages to tear apart. So I'm just gluing it down and hoping you guys can see that. And I just go about halfway. I do a lot of eyeballing. I don't do a lot of measuring. That may bug the snot out of some of you. And typically, I'm pretty persnickety about my stuff, but junk journaling is one craft where I feel like the rules don't matter and everything's completely made up. You know, like, whose line is it anyway? So I didn't put maybe not enough glue. You can glue that until it sticks. My glue is probably being hindered by the fact that I have water on the paintbrush too, because I kind of stick it in water. So I'm gluing the other side. I feel like I have to rush through this, and I just realized I don't. So I'm going to glue the sides together. And this will give a little bit of stability as well to what you're doing, to the cover, because the cover is going to take more of a beating than pretty much anything else. Or at least the way I do it. So you can write on, I mean, obviously you can decorate your cover however you want. I happen to have access to lots of scrapbooking paper. I have way too much, and I have way too much. My husband just brought me water because my throat's all scratchy. Sorry about that. So I have a ton of scrap paper, and I have a ton of scrapbooking paper. More than I can use in 3 lifetimes, but I won't let it go yet. I can't let it go yet. So I'm just going to, I'm just kind of smushing these down. Just because, like I said, it's going to add a little bit of strength to your journal. I'm a huge fan of collage and decoupage and gluing the crap out of everything. So I don't mind going over a couple different layers with my glue. But there is definitely, you can get stuff at the dollar store for Mod Podging. It's called Mod Podge. It's for collaging and decoupaging. And so I just turn it into a verb because I just Mod Podge everything. But this is almost done, and then I'll set it aside to dry at first. Now, if you're using regular copy paper, you are not going to, if it's got nothing on it, you're not going to need to worry about which side is facing what or anything like that. If you're not going to be covering up what you're using, then you're going to want to make sure that you're orienting your pages the way that you want them to be in the final product. And again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show how to make signatures. I'm going to show how signatures are basically the batches of paper that you are using for pages. That's a signature. So one batch of papers, for example, in my, oh, that's a bad example because I took a notebook and used this one. So I'll have to find one with signatures. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, aha, my new one. Okay. This is my new journal that I just started working in. And it's got 5 signatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think each signature had like 14 pages or some weird number like that. But these are, each one of these is a signature. So it's just the papers that I'm using as my backdrop. And some of them I may use what's on the page, and some of them I'm just put them there for paper. Okay, so I'm going to go back to gluing. And I did wash this Mod Podge container out before I put my glue in it. I washed it out. I got all the old, not Elmer's glue out of it. Oh my goodness. I just had a bug just died on my table. Okay. So I am just probably gonna fast forward this part. Maybe. We'll see. Do some fancy cutting. So I'm just cutting the sides of the book cover off. And if I need to put more glue on later, I can do that, but I'm going to set this aside to dry for right now, and then I'm going to focus on the signature. And so what I got for a signature was I have more coffee dyed paper. Now again, you can do this with just straight up copy paper, and you can leave it white, you know, and it'll be fine. 2, 3, 4. So I've got 5 papers for my signature. And I am actually going to kind of flip the way that I'm putting them together, just for fun. So I am going to fold them in half. Oop. I'm going to try to fold them in half more neatly than that. So I'm just going to fold each one in half. Apparently, it's been too long since I've made signatures. So I am going to fold it in half. This is a paper that wasn't exactly coffee dried, but it was definitely soaked in water. And it did get some coffee on it. And so I've got my papers and I'm just folding them in half. Using my finger to press down the seam so I can make a crease. Folding in half. And what I like about coffee dyeing my paper is it does have that really nice crinkle when you play with it, but also I like the way it feels and what kind of soaking it does to the paper and the color. And then I smell like a latte forever after I coffee dye my papers. So I've got my signatures. I got my signature about to be assembled, so I'm just gonna stick them in one another. And honestly, I was going to say in no particular order, but I very clearly put it in a particular order, so I can't say that. So this is my signature, and it's ready for putting together with my cover. Now you're probably going to want to wait for your cover to dry, but I'm not that patient. Oh, and I've got a big Luga gob on it. So I am going to fold my cover also. And then I'm going to show you the neat trick that I learned from Pam, who learned it and explained it to us in one of her videos over at the Paper Outpost. And I will link Paper Outpost, the Paper Outpost link below. And if this doesn't turn out okay, I'm going to... Okay, so this... Now I've got everything folded and it's all together and it's lined up. So I've got this piece of foam here that I'm going to put underneath my center. And you can absolutely clip your... you can absolutely clip your papers together to hold them while you're binding them. But I'm not wicked worried about it right now. So you pull your stapler out like you're hanging stuff on the wall, and you staple into the foam. Oops. Or you try to staple into the foam. You staple into the foam and it allows you to then flip it over, because you can pull the staples out of the foam, and you flip it over and you just put the staple, the little bits down, the little nubbies. So that is a junk journal, just about made. I have tools that will do this, but I told you I was going to try to do it with just what I had. So I made a junk journal, and it didn't take me that long. And it's got a nice cover that differentiates it from the rest of the papers because it's a little thicker. Now I can use this on its own, or I can put it in a bigger collection of... I can make this into a signature and put it into a book. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it, because I actually do have a craft junk journal where I write down a lot of my craft ideas, kind of things that I've learned when I use it. I don't always remember to use it. But This is a junk journal, and it's a junk journal that you can make with just supplies that you have around the house, like copy paper. I keep switching copy and coffee. Copy paper from your printer, or lined paper from a notebook. I mean, pretty much it's called junk journaling for a reason. You can use whatever you have around the house. That's what I love about it. So I guess I'm going to say goodbye. So goodbye.